everybody, hello. Right, exciting day today. It's the day I think that we're actually going to start our vintage sewing journal. This was my book. This is it now. It's wants to come away from the spine now, so it probably needs gluing a bit. But what I've done is I've taken every piece of paper that I cut out, apart from the actual bit that was like there's your signature. So inside it there's lots of pages you can pull out, but the actual signature cover, not the journal cover, the signature covers are glued in down into the spine and you can't get them out. So I've left those, but they are pretty much, I think, the only ones I have left. So I've got, and I've stuck them together as well. So I've got 2 pages stuck together here, which gives me 1 page, 2 pages, 3 pages, 4 pages, 5. Here I made a boo-boo. I've got a single page, don't know what that was about. So 6 anyway. 7, 8, it's another single page. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, another single page, 20, 21. So I've got 21 pages left in mine, and you can see that each one that's left, that is the one that all other pages were inside of that I've pulled out and removed, and I've gone down there with some glue. We'll see if that holds. It should hold, but if not, we'll washi tape it and stuff. This single one that I had left, I've just folded over. I might use it like that, I might not. I don't know. But I hope that that's relatively clear to you what I've done. So each page that had, this is the book, this is 2 pages together, but each one was the outside of the signature, and in the middle there was the stitching. You could see the stitching. So I glued the stitching and then I glued the pages, so I've got 1 sturdy page out of 2. And that, as I say, has given me, whatever I said, 21. Now, I did look on Etsy, of course I did, for some inspiration with sewing, vintage sewing journals. And these are the ones that I liked. I'm not saying I bought all of these. I thought I might have done. But if you want to take a, what do you call it, screenshot of that, obviously these ones, this has nothing to do with anything. It's just a book I've got. So if you want to screenshot that and then go yourself and go and have a look and see which you like, which you think would be useful to you, which you wouldn't. And none of them are very expensive. I don't like spending a great deal of money unless I have to. So there we are, that's that. So don't be asking me as we go through, whose paper is that? Because that's your information. Right, so I've just selected to work on, first off, a page that's kind of in the middle. I like to do that because sometimes you start off on the front page and your style kind of changes throughout the journal. So I'm going to start on just a random one of these double pages that I've got stuck together. Right, so I have, out of one of the kits, it had all these buttons on it. Aren't they just absolutely gorgeous? They're just so lovely. So I've cut it because it was just marginally too high. So I've cut it to fit on my page like that. So I think what I need to do is ink. I need to get inking. And you know, I've got all my remnants out, my sewing remnants. Well, it's not all of them, but a lot of them. So they're out on the desk. Everything's out on the desk. Yeah, this was another set that I got. It'll be in that list that I've just given you. And they're just all sewing words, and they come in 3 different colours like that. So I'm sure that at some stage we will be using those. Now let me see if I can find a dauber. Yeah, it's over here underneath another mound of fabric, but that's okay, I can get it. So this is a pretty dark one, so let's use gathered twigs. I like gathered twigs. You don't have to. You could use no ink if that's what you fancy. God, it's so long since I inked a bit of paper. What's going on? I do not know. So I'm just going to ink around here, and while I've got it I'm going to ink the other side as well. This is a bit awkward. I got my sewing machine, my eye, and I've got blinking everything out. I do want to include a fair bit of fabric in this if I can. That doesn't mean to say if you haven't got fabric that you can't do it, because you absolutely can. Just use bits of paper. We're paper crafters. Bit of glue there, stuck on there. We are at heart paper crafters. I've had this dalliance into the world of fabric and I'm really enjoying it because I have got some beautiful, beautiful fabrics. So I'm quite happy to be using those. I think I'm going to attempt to kind of do something on every page. So it won't be a writing journal, not really. Right, that's that. Oh, now I need to ink around here. Forgetting what to do. It's terrible. So this one, actually I might distress this before I ink it with my little distressing tool. I don't want to tear it. It's not the thickest paper in the world, this. But I would quite like to have it distressed a little bit. Because it is a vintage sewing journal. That's what we have to remember. Oh yeah, that's doing it. That's alright. That's good. Some people do this with a pair of scissors open, and where your blades meet in the middle. You can do the same thing with. I'm useless at doing that for some reason, so I just use my little distressing tool. I think this one's a Crafter's Companion one. Timmy does one as well. It doesn't matter. Yeah, that looks a bit better for being distressed. Okay, why don't you want to distress it anymore? Okay, what am I doing wrong here? Oh, that's it, we're off again. I think sometimes if you press on too hard, it doesn't like it. But, you know, I'm not the world's expert at distressing the edges. So I hope you've all had a nice, relaxing time when I haven't been bombarding you with stuff to do. Yeah, that's going to look better. Shall I tear it? Shall I tear it somewhere? Let's tear it down there. And really ink that up so it looks, yeah, like that. I'm just going to put some ink on this as well. I don't think you'll see this side, but you might. Yeah, that's nice. I can just fold that over. Lovely. Let's ink around the edge then, the bit that we've just distressed. Just going to put some ink on the back of that. So I'm starting off fairly tentatively. I'm not using any of my lovely papers from the vintage books, Although, to be honest, I don't know if I ever will use any from the vintage books. Mr. F kindly photographed them, and so now they're all available to print out. I think I'll just print them out. I don't think I can bear to cut into them. Just a bit silly really, isn't it? But we're all like that, so. Right, so there we go. There's that. So I'm going to put that from the spine edge, but not right up to the spine. There's just a little, don't even think it's 1/8 of an inch, but it's a little bit. And I'm going to put that on there. Oh, I love that. I love it so much. And let's glue this down. I did so much gluing yesterday with this book, and I couldn't get the glue off my fingers, and it was driving me mad. I wanted to do some knitting, but it was like I had gloves on. So I'm just using my Colo, which is akin, I guess, to Fabri-Tac or something like that, or certainly Beacon 3-in-1, I would say it's possibly similar to. And I tend to use that when I've got big bits like this to stick down. That's just dripped onto the page, but it doesn't really matter because it's all going to get stuck down anyway. Right, so let's take this, put it, as we said, just 1/8 or so in from the edge. Put that along there, and that's all fitting nicely. Yes, that's lovely. Good job. Oh, so there's our very first piece in our sewing journal. I'm just going to get my brayer and just make sure that that's nice and flat. There we go. Now this bit here looks like it needs a bit of faux sellotape to me. So let's take one of the darker pieces. Scissors. I'm going to take a fair bit, but I don't want it that full width. So I'm just going to cut it down like that. Put that bit there for later use. And then put this almost up to the top. Should I fold it over and put it on? Yeah, let's do that. Oh, doesn't that look nice? Can you see that properly? Looks fantastic. Oh dear, it doesn't take much to make us happy, does it? Right, so the next thing I did, and I kind of started this before I switched the camera on because I wanted to know if it was going to work or not. This is a piece from one of the sets that I've shown you, and it's a sort of patchwork. Well, it is a patchwork. And I just inked the back, same as I always do. This is frayed burlap oxide. I'm not quite sure where I'm going with this, but going somewhere with it. And I just cut out, these are remnants, and I just cut them out and stitched them around. Don't know whether it would be better if the stitching was in black, it might be. And there's a couple of remnants there as well. And what I want to do really in an ideal world is fold this into thirds. But I don't know. Yeah, I think that might be alright. So what I'm going to do first is fold this one in because it's the wider one. Yeah, like that. Make sure you've got that straight along the bottom. I'm not sure that this is straight, this piece of paper, because my printer was in a funny mood that day. I don't know where my bond folder is, but I'll just use the end of my scissors. There we go. And then this one I want to fold in as well. I could fold it to there. Yeah, that works. So let's make sure we've got that to there. And straight following that, the line we've already folded in. That's kind of nice, isn't it? And you can see the stitching through on this side. Not worried about that at all. It's a stitching journal, so sure we'll be all right. And let's just flatten that down like so. Let's just check it straight. Yeah, it's not exactly straight. So let's just get the little guillotine out and just straighten those up. It's not much, but it's enough to say it's not straight. And we don't want that. We don't want to be kicking off. Not perfect. May as well aim for perfection. There we go. So I'm thinking that that can go there. It's not as tall as this now, but it doesn't matter. Really doesn't matter. And what we'd have is a pocket behind it, and then I can put something in here. Not sure what yet, and it needs inking. So I'm just going to go and ink all around there and all around here, and I'll be straight back. Okay, so there we are. I've inked around there. It's inked inside and out, and that now can become our pocket, tucking things in that way. And also it's going to be a flip flap. Well, it is a flip flap. I just haven't decided yet what's going to go in it. However, I have decided that I want to put some lace down the side of this page. Now, I'm not fussed particularly if it steps out from the cover. It's just the way it is sometimes. And I quite like that when you can see a lot of lace and frills and stuff coming over the edge. So I'm just going to put my messy mat down there because I want to attach this quite near the edge, like that. And then that will determine where this is going to go. You see? I think you see. Right, so I'm just going to put some of my collal down this edge. Like so. And you can generally see through. There's generally holes that you can be guided by to make sure you get it sort of straight. And I can see a specific set of holes on my lace that I can see through, so I can make sure it's straight. So there we are, there's that. Let's cut this off. Yeah, my scissors don't want to cut at all. And then we can stick this in, buttoning it up to that lace. It's looking quite nice already, isn't it? It's got to be said. I'll say it. It's looking nice already. Okay, so I want this to be a pocket, so I don't want any glue on this side, but I do want glue. I've had to open a new pot of Nouveau glue. Let me just double check that. That's that. I don't want any glue on this side. Right, okay. So I'm just gonna, this is a bit urgent, this glue. Oh, it's not as bad as it was yesterday. So just around the edge. And then we have ourselves a pocket. So let's just get this on. And like I say, it doesn't reach from the top to the bottom, but that's okay. that doesn't matter at all. And give that a good press down. Let's put the lid back on here. Oh, this doesn't have a spike in it. That's strange. So, there we go. There's the makings of our first page. Looks nice, doesn't it? Let's cut off the excess lace. If I can, if these scissors want to cut. I suppose I could really, in all fairness, get my fabric scissors out, but see, they've done the job. Oh, just. Oh, nearly cut myself. Be more careful. Right, okay. So what exactly are we going to put in the inside and make the journaling card out of? Don't know. I'm going to pause you there while I think about it. Right, I've had a think. And in the meantime, I made this journaling card. It's from one of the digitals from Etsy. It's gorgeous, isn't it? Is that the right way up? Which is the right way up? That way, I think. Yeah, excellent. So it just slips into there. You can still see all that gorgeous background. It was only when I was doing the journaling card that I thought, hang on a minute, there's something missing here. And I haven't sewn around there, haven't stitched around it. So good job that I didn't start with a front page. This is just a kind of little warm up to get into it. And then in here, I thought we could do like a little fabric pocket. So I have taken a piece of card, well, thick paper, and I've cut it to the size I think I want it to be. Does that still fold in? And that still folds in, yeah. I might just take a smidge off that, because by the time we get fabric on it, it might be a little wide. So I don't want much of, just a smidge. And then let's have a look and see what fabrics we've got, what we think looks nice, what we don't like. I've got this, it's a Tim Holtz Provisions it's from actually, and it's gorgeous. I love this fabric. I really want to save it for bag making, but you know, got to use stuff. So if I put that there on that edge, and then I've got this really is a remnant, but isn't it lovely? And put that up there. Needs something else here though, doesn't it then? Don't know, let's have a look and see what else we've got. I've got this with the text on it. It's a bit wishy-washy for that particular place. I'm just going through my remnants. See what I've got. Ooh, that's quite nice. Be nice that way. I'd probably have to cut my pocket down, but that's okay. Could have that up there, that lovely frayed edge there, and then I could have that, might as well use that side, there. And yeah, I'd have to lose a bit of my pocket, but that's not terrible. What do you think? I quite like that actually. Quite like it. So what I'm going to do then is put that to one side. I'm going to move my pressing mat because I can just see that it's going to get covered in glue, and that really is not what I want for my pressing mat. So let's move everything off it. See, there's glues and daubers and everything on it already. Oh. And where are we? Here we are. So I think the thing to do is, well, I can have that right over to that side, can't I? It's just tack that down with a bit of glue. Not much, just to stop it moving really. That'll do. Put that on there so that edge is just over the top. Make sure your side's covered. Let's turn it to that side, make sure we're straight, which we are. Lovely. That's perfect. And then this is going to go over the top. Now this is definitely not cut straight or anything, but that's fine. So I need to cut that. Oh, my blooming iron, it's drunk. I need to cut that to about there, I'd say. So let's trim that off. And it's ended up being about 4 inches tall. So now I can put this on, and like I said, it's not going to be straight along the bottom, but I kind of like that idea actually. So I can trim that off about there. I think I am going to have to get my fabric scissors out at some stage. And just tuck that into place there. And I'm going to leave the bottom like that. In fact, I'm going to try and fray it a bit more. But so I'm just going to tack that down with a little bit of glue. And just make sure I'm over the bottom there. Ooh, look at that, it's lovely. So yeah, I've got all my card covered. And I think maybe the thing to do is to sew it from the wrong side so I can see. Let's do that. Oh, so I've got that set to a zigzag, which is not what I want. Yesterday when I was doing the book, honestly, I don't think I've ever had a paper cut all the time I've been crafting. But yesterday when I was gluing that book up together, I got 2 paper cuts, and would you believe it, they were in exactly the same place. First one hurt, the second one was just ridiculous. Let's tie that off, snip the end off. Let's see what that looks fine. I mean, this is really the wrong side of the stitching, but it looks nice. So I'm going to trim off some of the ends, but I still want to leave some. And I'm going to have to trim, I'm leaving the top because that's got that lovely frayed bit on it. I'm going to trim these down to the side of the card. At the bottom I want to leave because I can fray that as well. If you're not into sewing, just use paper. Use paper or card or whatever. Oh, that looks so nice, doesn't it? But I think I need like a zigzag across here. So I shall do that. Set my machine to a zigzag and I'll just go across there. There we go. Look at that. Looks nice, doesn't it? Do I need anything up here? Who knows? What have I got? I've got a bird. No, don't want the birdie. I do have some stamps though. They're a pretty good match, aren't they? Yeah, I like that. I think it needs that. I do think it needs that. This hasn't got any Bondo web or anything on the back, so it's going to be a bit sewing by the seat of my pants. But I think we'll be alright. I think that'll look okay. Alright, I'm just going to sew that. I'll be back. So there we are. I've sewn it on. There's our little pocket. What I want to do is just fray that out a little bit at the bottom, and I think if I just take my finger in there, I can possibly fray that out a bit as well. It'll look better. Yeah, that looks nice. So let's stick it in our book. What does it look like? It looks lovely. That's a nice thing to find, isn't it, when you open your book? I think so anyway. Right, so I'm going to stick it with my... Oh no, it's all that. Do not know. So I'm using my tonic glue. I'm just sticking the card down because I don't want the glue to go through the fabric, because that looks horrible when it does that. There we go. And then I want this just up from the bottom a bit, and just in from each side a little bit. There we go. I like it. I love it being all scrappy, it's lovely. So I guess we have to find something something to possibly go on there on a paper clip, and we need a tag for here. Now I've got those books of tags. Where are they? This one feels the fullest, must be this one. And I think they'll fit. Let's take a black one out for a change. Black never gets used. No, now I've taken all of the black block off. Didn't mean to do that. Is that going to fit in? Oh yeah, perfectly. Perfectly. Even if you push it right down to the bottom, it's there, so that's great. And didn't I save a little bit of this? I did. I wonder if I can tie a knot in that at the top. Just going to cut a really narrow little bit of that. See if I can tie that into a knot. Probably not, because I'm pretty useless when it comes to tying knots, to be honest, but I'll give it a go. Please work. It would be so nice if you worked. I just think it's not quite long enough. Although, hey. That's all right. See if I can square that up a bit. Yeah. I'm just going to put a little bit of glue in that knot. I don't think it's going to come out, but you can never tell, can you? So I'm just going to add a little bit of glue in there. And just massage that into the knot. That's great. There we go. Right. So what else do I need to put on it? Something, I would say. I'm not sure yet. Not sure if I know what I'm putting there. I might put part of a pattern. Let's get the let's get the project books out and see what I've got. See what I can find that I like the look of. That's quite nice. There's a lot of mainly sort of patterns and things in here. Stamps. Ah, these ladies. Let's get them out, see if they fit on. I've got masses of interesting stuff in here, but I'll leave both of those out because I like both of those. I'll put my project books away because otherwise it's going to get tipped up. I just know it will. So do these, excuse me, do these ladies fit on here? No. Although, you know. She's gorgeous. The heads are in the middle, that's the problem. Quite like that. And I quite like her there. Excuse me. Got a froggy in my throat. I've had an idea. Of course I have. And it's to do with the stamps, and then we could emboss it, couldn't we, in white? Let's have a look and see which stamps we've got. So I've got those blueprint ones. Yep. And I've got these ones. And then that Timmy one. I think that's all the stamps I've got actually. What about the blueprints one? I quite like those. Let's see. Nothing ventured, nothing gained, guys. So I'm just going to get my embossing stuff. Okay, I've changed my mind, guys. I've decided to use this tape measure instead. A tape measure stamp. And I'm going to put it kind of down there, I think. That's the plan. And then she can go over it, sort of thing. So, by way of a stamping platform for that, I'm going to use my Timmy ruler. And that isn't on straight. Let's just get it something like straight, make stamping it easier. There we go. And I'm going to use my embossing ink. Actually, I'm not that. Doesn't feel right. Let's use my Versamark. Yeah, that feels better. So I do want to get as much detail as I can with this. I'm not saying embossing is the right way forward to go with it, but there we go. Right, let's give that a try and see what happens. I'll get my embossing powder ready to go, and I want it that way. Oh my goodness me, come on. So I can line up the edge with my Timmy ruler and press that down, and hopefully it'll work. And put my powder on. see if it has worked. Oh, that's not too bad. I've got a bit of fluffage around, but it's not desperate. Do I have a paintbrush anywhere? Oh no, it's a pencil. There's the paintbrush, this will do. So I'm just going to brush off those bits down the side. There is details in the middle that aren't perfect, but there isn't anything I can do about them. These bits, however, I can get rid of. I think it'd be alright. Okay, let's just leave that there. Put the embossing powder away. This is Ranger White embossing powder, and if I'd used Ranger Extra Fine or Detail or whatever they call it, I probably would have been better off. I'd have got a better image, but I didn't, so I didn't. So let's give this a go. Yikes, where's my tongs? My gingy tongs. That's better. This gets too hot, doesn't it, to hold? That's it, it's starting to go. Well, even that's too hot. That's it. I think we're there. I think we're there. Phew, thank you, Gingies. You did a good job. Okay, so that's that. She's going to go there. Might drop her down just a little bit. Drop her down to there. So she is over that a little bit. I could sew around it, couldn't I? Well, not the top. I can't sew the top because I've already put that in and glued it, so a bit stuffed there. I don't quite like that. I quite like it. Shall I ink around her or not? Maybe I'll just waft my dauber in her direction. Or maybe I've lost my dauber, so I can't. Oh, here we go. So I wanted to, I mean, she looks pretty vintage anyway, because she is vintage, that's the truth of the matter. It's an old sewing pattern. Don't know what year it would be from. What would you say? 70s maybe? Something like that. So it's quite old. Not as old as me, of course. We're getting on that way. Yeah, she looks better with a bit of ink around her. Okay, so I'm going to bring her down. What about that? Right over to there. Yeah, I like that. I like that. I like it. Don't forget to clean off the embossing ink, Versamark or whatever you're using, on your stamp. Otherwise, you'll never get a good stamp off it again. So, yeah, remember to do that. And I'm saying that to remind myself as much as anybody else. I have ruined stamps in the past. Right, so yeah, I'm going to bring her all the way over here, as high up as I can get her. That's better, I like that. I like it, actually, I do. I quite like this area being dark. I think it just accentuates everything else. I'm really sorry about this, love, but you're going to have to lose a foot. So let's just trim that foot off. Oh, I can feel your pain. I'm really sorry. There we go. Yeah, I think she looks nice. What do you think? What do you actually think? Don't know. Anyway, here's our book. She looks great, doesn't she? She looks fine, mighty fine. I'm not making this as a practical journal. I'm making it as things that I like to see. So I'm not going to back the back of that so people can write on it. If they want to write on it, buy a white jelly roll pen. Apart from that, it's just something pretty to look at, isn't it, really? And I've got these, and I don't know what I want to do with them, if anything. I quite like the idea that they just fold out, that it's just a flippy floppy, but I might come back to them at some stage and just add something in there once I get the hang of what it is I'm adding. I should have stitched around it. I'm cross with myself that I forgot to do that. But there's our first page done. I think it looks pretty darn good. So we've got the buttons on the back, we've got a bit of faux sellotape, we've got this. Now that does need something. It definitely does. What does that need? Well, faux sellotape would be a good start. So let's put a bit of that down. Down where? Down this edge. Yeah, but then you won't see it from when it's tucked in. Okay, then let's do it here. There we go. I need to find my bone folder. Yeah, that does look better. But it might look nice with a little bit of stenciling. I mean, it's really nice, looks clean and everything else. I'm just going to go and find a stencil. Okay, so I have found these two. This one's obviously got the numbers on and dots. And this one, these are two of my all-time favourites. This one's got the sort of plus signs on it. I don't want much on, but I do want something. It's just looking a little bare. So I've selected 5 brick because why not? Why not indeed? So, what have I got on here again? Scissors, yeah. So I don't want to do over the scissors. This is an oxide. I'm not putting masses on because I don't want it to be the heaviest. And I've lined the outside of my stencil up with the outside of my card. And I'm just gonna do that. Let's have a look. That's so much better, isn't it? It's just so much better. So let's do something up here as well. Yeah, I like that. Now I need to have 3. So I'm going to have to come down here and try and get a number in there, which I can do, look there, no bother. Don't want to catch that 6. That's fine, that's all right, that's all it needed just to balance it up. Yes, that is much better. I like it. Okay, let's put that in our book then, and I think that page, at least as far as today goes, is done. We've got the background, we've got the journaling card, we've got our flippy flappy, and yes, I might add something to this eventually. Might just be more stenciling. In fact, it might be more stenciling. Why can't I just do more stenciling now? No reason, then it's finished. What did I do with it? Here it is. So I'm going to stick with my numbers. Same ink, which I think matches that, which was kind of why I selected it. And And let's just add some numbers to here. I really like that. It's delicious. It's just lightened and brightened the entire thing. Doing stencils on this page might not be so easy because it's falling off the page, and it's got lace on it and all sorts of things underneath it. I mean, let's just give it a try. Yeah, that's lovely. That's all that needed. It's perfect. It's finished it off. It looks gorgeous. And thank you, stencil. Look at that. It's really nice. I might put a bit of faux aged tape down there. That is what I might do. I might add it full width, which I don't often do. There we go. Yeah, happy now. I'm happy with that. I like it. So when you come to the page, this is what you see. Lovely. Oh, the stenciling does make a huge difference, and particularly in there, it's fabulous. So there we go. That's today's page. Phew! It's a bit of a struggle getting back into it when you haven't been doing it for a while. But I do like that. I do like that. So, see where we go from there, shall we? Thank you very, very much for joining me. Gosh, I haven't even been rambling for an hour. That's good, isn't it? Give your ear holes a bit of a rest. And I'll see you really soon when we'll continue this mammoth sewing journal, vintage sewing journal. So see you soon, guys. Take care. And once again, thanks for joining me. Bye.